Can we just put Kaitlyn Dever in anything, because this actress is dedicated. What's up everyone, this is going to be Joshua, Future Filmmaker Reviews. I talk movies, TV, music, and anime on a few occasions. This is going to be my thoughts on the 20th Century Studios Hulu exclusive Rosaline, which is the comedic take on the Romeo and Juliet story based on William Shakespeare, and this is also based on a young adult novel of the same name. This, of course, stars Kaitlyn Dever, Isabela Merced, Kyle Allen, Minnie Driver, and Christopher McDonald, and Bradley Whitford. We follow a comedic retelling of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, told from the point of view and the eyes of Romeo's jilted ex, Rosaline, the woman that he first claimed to love before he fell for Juliet. So it's basically this movie trying to break them up and to get him back. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss more epitastic content like this. All my social media links in the description box down below, to my Facebook, all the way to my serialized. Also, my Amazon wishlist and my Cash App are also in the description box down below if you like to send money or you like to see anything from my Amazon wishlist. With that being said, let's talk about Rosaline. So going into Rosaline, I was actually pretty curious to see what this was going to be. It looked like a different take on Romeo and Juliet, the version that we are so used to, where it's a tragic, emotional story. I have seen some of the Romeo and Juliet movies, mainly the 60s one and the one from Baz Luhrmann, and also the one with Haley Steinfeld, which I didn't hate. I thought that was decent. Those other two I actually really loved. So going into this, I found that this was going to be something quite different. After that, you got Kaitlyn Dever also starring in this, of Booksmart fame and Unbelievable and Dope Sick and Dear Evan Hansen, and also that she was going to be producing this movie, so that made it a lot more interesting to see it. And also other stacked talented cast behind her, but I was worried that this was not going to be as funny as I think. Also, it had a little bit, I was like, how are they really going to make this work? But shocked to say, this is one of my favorite films of the year. Hell, I'm going to go as far as to say, besides Prey, besides The Princess, and besides the new Hellraiser, this should have been released in theaters. I feel like this is something that would have definitely succeeded in theaters. But I can understand as a decision as to why. But at the same time, I don't see why not. Son of a... So starting off with the positives, of course, is the main attraction herself, the woman of the hour, Kaitlyn Dever. She is amazing in this movie as Rosaline. She brings a lot of comedic timing to this character. You understand why she wants to break up Romeo and Juliet. You actually feel sympathy for her, and you feel like she just wants to be loved with someone. Not like a compassion, and she wants the man of her dreams. And you take that when it comes to Rosaline, and she applies it here. Also, she's an executive producer on this movie, so she definitely has some say in this. But Kaitlyn Dever, she is committed. I loved her ever since Booksmart. She's done other stuff like the American Girl movie that she did with Clarissa. Also stuff with Justified and stuff with Bad Teacher, but she is committed here in this as Rosaline. She's likable, she's charismatic. Even though there are some moments where you are supposed to not like her, I do think Kaitlyn Dever's performance does bring it as to why she is likable. And she does carry that throughout this entire movie.
My boyfriend is about to make the biggest mistake of his life.
It's your boyfriend's wedding. Ouch.
Blow me.
Also, with that, you also have to talk about some of the rest of the cast. You have Kyle Allen and Isabela Merced. They play Romeo and Juliet. Of course, you think this is going to be that usual Romeo and Juliet where they fall in love and they die. Throughout the movie, of course, they do play on this twist a little bit. And I do think their performances are very strong too. Isabela Merced especially. Any scene that she has with Kyle Allen or with Kaitlyn Dever, I thought was very fun and very interesting. You got Minnie Driver, you got Lou Temple, you got Bradley Whitford, and even this other character in this movie that I actually didn't mind. I thought all the rest of the acting in this movie is very good. It's a very well committed film. It's a very well acted film. Direction by Maine, of course, it is some of my favorite direction. It's very energetic. It's very passionate. You can tell that they are wanting to do right with Romeo and Juliet, but also take it in a more comedic spin. And the execution of it is the most important thing. You can take an interesting idea and you can have it all you want, but if you don't execute that right, you don't have anything, which is the one thing I will always say when it comes to something like this. I also have to say I love the mix and the influences of some stuff like A Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You. It has its sharpness, and it does have its very creativeness fun into its comedy, and you definitely do like that. I was laughing consistently throughout the movie. There were a few jokes in here that I didn't think were that great, but I thought that a lot of the jokes, for the most part, I was just laughing my ass off. There is one joke with Kaitlyn where everyone has their swords out, and I gotta tell you, that had me smiling and laughing out loud. I'm like, Kaitlyn Dever, her comedic timing, we all know her for her dramatic shit. But when she is being funny, like she was in Booksmart, even though she was playing a lesbian in that movie, she brings it. And I can definitely see why so many other directors and why a franchise would call her up at some point.
All right, you all have big swords. How about we put them back in our pants now?
Technical aspects aside, everything else, from the technical aspects, from the cinematography by Laurie Rose, to the editing, to the score by Hultquist and drum and lace, I love the technical aspects of it. It's very well done. I love the technical aspects. I love the music here. And I like a lot of this, what this movie was going for. It's a very colorful, very beautiful costumes, very great production sets. It doesn't feel green screen, which this is something I definitely appreciate. It definitely feels like you're in a real location, and I like that. I love the fact that this is in a real location, and it's really, really creative. Very good work by the production designers, the filmmaking, and by Maine herself. The movie is 96 minutes. An hour and 36 minutes. It's nice to have a Romeo and Juliet movie that is a comedy that's not 2 hours. Fast paced, it's straight to the point. I love that about this, and it is just so awesome. You get that. I love that. It's like being able to be transported back with the 2000s. Just like with The Princess, you get to see a lot of this, and you get to see how much fun the world of this is. It's very beautiful, very bright, very colorful. And I was just invested, because a lot of movies, they would think using CGI is great, but it's not always the case. Sometimes real sets and real locations are the way to go, and I very much appreciate that in its story and its aspect, and for the atmosphere. And I also really like the twists and turns at the end. Like, you think the Romeo and Juliet story for this being a comedic take is gonna go the tragic route, but it doesn't really go that route. I won't spoil it in case you have not seen it yet. It's just, I really like the comedic spin, and I do like the message that this movie's trying to bring. It doesn't have to hammer it down. It's very nice, it's very concise, and it's very straight to the point. And for something like this easily could have gone the wrong way, but as I said, it did its job amazingly well. So I very much like a lot of the characters, of course. This is considering the fact that this is a different type of Romeo and Juliet, you have to like the characters. While some other characters don't get fleshed out as much as you want, I still think the performances of the cast make this very likable. Moving on to the negatives of this movie, I do have just a few. I will say that there is maybe 1 or 2 jokes in this movie I didn't think landed all that well. I think that a lot of the comedy in this movie hits, but it's just maybe 1 or 2 jokes in the movie that didn't really land as far as it should have. And at times it kind of feels like it's gonna lose its sharpness in terms of its comedy, but it takes a lot of what it's trying to go for and it runs with it. It's just 2 jokes, maybe 1 or 2 that didn't really quite land for me. I feel like some of the other actors here were a little underutilized. Not that they were bad per se, they are great in the movie, of course. I just felt like a few of them, like Minnie Driver and also Christopher McDonald, I did think they could have had a little bit more to do in this movie. But those are really my only 2 gripes when it comes to the film. So overall, Rosaline, I had a hell of a fun time with this movie. I thought that this was awesome. I thought it was very good. Taking the classic story of Romeo and Juliet, bringing a comedic spin to it, I was laughing consistently. If you're looking for a fun take on Romeo and Juliet, this is your way to go. Be warned, this is not the Romeo and Juliet you are used to, and I think you will have a fun experience. It's definitely on Hulu now, but if you ain't got Hulu, find it on any other streaming website you can. Give this a watch, and it is worth the price of admission. This is one of the better movies I've seen all year, and one of the biggest surprises I've seen all year. And at some point, I do hope we get a physical media release, because this will look great on Blu-ray and DVD. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. I will have my channel here, so you would like to see anything here, click the channel icon, subscribe for more. I will also leave a video and maybe a playlist here, so in case you want to see what I'm about. As always, stay Epictasticness, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.